pleasure to introduce the students of Sunset Ridge Elementary School, fourth grade.
Recording in progress.
You want me to start over? Elementary school fourth graders Mila and Clara, and fifth graders Zayat, I hope I said that correctly, Abigail and Alejandra, who will lead us in the flag salute, read the land acknowledgement, and provide highlights at their school. Barbara, can you take the roll call, please?
Yes, trustee Bernal. Here. Trustee Burkini. Here. Trustee Doggett. Here. Trustee Patel. Here. Trustee Villalobos.
Here. The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during the time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. All right. I feel like I'm reading to my class and I get stuck on page. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or superintendent. You will be called to address the board and may speak for up to 3 minutes. Virtual speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please submit your first and last name and agenda item you wish to speak on in the Q&A area of the webinar. Please do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. You will be called to address the board. Your microphone will be unmuted and you may speak for up to 3 minutes. Please note, the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes unless extended by the board is allocated for each subject discussed. The Brown Act open meeting regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a comment. All right. Our approval of the agenda, and this is an action item. Are there any questions? Oh, we're going to do them.
Yes, you start the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now to revoke. The Pacifica School District acknowledges that we gather on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush people. As yet, we humbly extend our gratitude to Ramaytush and others of the day. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. As the original stewards of this land, Ramaytush Ohlone, to understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teach our school community as the responsible stewards of this land. My name is Abby. I'm in 5th grade. Let me tell you about Sunset Ridge. Family Day is a fun school-wide event hosted every month at Sunset Ridge. A student from every grade comes to an assigned classroom to do fun activities with your 5th graders. 4th to 5th graders get leadership role. 5th graders lead active. My name is Alejandra, and I'm in 5th grade and feeling humble. Often it's hard to get caught doing something good, but if you get caught being a problem child, you're going to try to stay the same. You'll get a hard point which you will turn into the office, and if you remain to color in the morning where you don't get a word. Yeah. Hi, I'm Claire, and I'm in 4th grade in STEAM class. What I really like is music. You learn how to play instruments and read music. You also get to learn about different types of music from all around. My name is Mila, in 4th grade and student council. My favorite thing in Sunset Ridge is Spanish class. And in Spanish class, my favorite thing is the quizzes. And it is really fun. They have us memorize Spanish words. And also they have us pronounce it the right way. And today I'll be talking about the hearing program. The hearing program makes students want to come to school because if you get perfect attendance for the whole week, you get a certificate and your name called on in front of the whole school from the principal, vice principal, or secretary.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Excellent job.
Sure, anybody shut this around. Okay, so moving on, we're on number 6, approval of the agenda. This is an action item. It is recommended that the board approve the agenda of the January 24th, 2024 regular meeting. Are there any questions regarding the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
Barbara, can you take the vote?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes by 10.
Report out on closed session items. The board met in closed session to discuss the closed session items. A, conference with labor negotiators, government code section 54957.6, agency designated representative Darnice Williams, superintendent, employee organization CSEA. And then there was no action taken. B, conference with labor negotiators, government code section 54957.6, agency designated representative Darnice Williams, superintendent, Greg Danis, Wolliver, and Kelly, employee organization LSEA. And no action was taken. C, conference with labor negotiators, government code section 54957.6, agency designated representative Darnice Williams, superintendent, employee organization Laguna Salada Management Association, or LSMA. No action was taken. Approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable, and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If a member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, an item shall be removed from the section and placed in the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
A motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
Barbara, can you take the vote?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes by 0.
And then we are on to number 9, superintendent's special recognition.
Good evening, everyone. I address the board properly. Good evening to the trustees of Pacifica School District. I am Dr. Darnice Williams, your superintendent. It brings me great pleasure to be before you today to do one of the favorites of our agenda, and that is to recognize the contributions of valuable members of our community who we adore, we appreciate, and most importantly, we could not be as great as we are without their assistance and their kindness. Before you today, we have Jean Brink, our honoree, Not only does she have the Oceana pool named after her, that's big. She has been volunteering in Miss Ryan's classroom for 15 years. That's a Jean loves to do art projects and reading with kids. Kids and staff are always happy to see Jean while on campus. Jean has a great deal of experience volunteering in schools. She actually started volunteering when her children were in elementary school. She was an active member of the PTA at Manor and Sharp Park School. She was on the Jefferson High School board for 12 years. Jean also volunteered. 20, I'm corrected. I need to read that again. Jean Green was on and survived being a board member for 20 years. Jean also volunteered. Ooh, that's a lifeline there. Jean also volunteered for the Pacifica Park, Beach, and Recreation Department, the Junior Olympics, the Pacifica Fall Fest, the Pacifica Teen Conferences, and she was a trustee for the Pacifica Youth Service Bureau. That's a lot. You see why she's our honoree. She also worked as a preschool teacher for several years, so she really understands the needs of oh gosh, did I mess that up too?
30 years.
Oh, 30. She's inspiring all of us. For 30 years, board member 20 years, volunteer 12 years. She even once shared that she loves working with children at Sunset Ridge. She told a story that one day, after 30 years, 20 years, 12 years, all the time, 15 years, she was finishing up a project with a group of students. One student quietly walked next to her, put his hand in hers, locked hands, you're locked in. She was so touched by the child's trust in her and his kindness. She said that this is the kind of act that just melted my heart. It goes to show you that you never know, and this is the focus of the benefit and the beauty of acts of kindness, be it small or big, who you are going to have an impact on. And Jean has definitely had an unforgivable impact and lasting on the lives of the children and staff at Sunset Ridge, in addition to the Pacifica community at large. Would you give me and join me in celebrating after I read, and our board president, trustee Villalobos, please join me and celebrate. Oh, principal, Dr. We all wonderful. Pacifica School District Board of Trustees and Superintendent present the certificate of appreciation awarded to Jean Green. Thank you for your service and commitment to our students and staff. Awarded this 24th day of January 2024. Signed by yours truly and by President Laverne Villalobos. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wait, I should get the flowers. Let's get the flowers.
And Miss Ryan has something for you.
Yeah.
And we're great to welcome you to the podium. If you'd like to have some words.
Want to get 3 minutes?
As long as you want to.
I want to thank you. This is very, very special. When I taught preschool for 30 years, I knew I was retiring, and actually I had Mrs. Ryan's son in my preschool class, and I said, can I, would you like for me to come in and volunteer? I didn't realize that I would be here 15 years later. But, for me, there's nothing more rewarding than working with children.
and especially for me, it's the young children. And one other story that I have to tell you, because I just felt like in my life, I've had periods of time when a touch of a hand or something said to me just lifts me up. And I was working with 3 children and we were making alphabet books and they all had animals or birds in them. And this little boy said, "Miss Jean, you must be a scientist." And the little girl sitting next to him said, "No, Miss Jean is a masterpiece." And talk about making someone feel really, really good. But I appreciate being able to go in to Sunset Ridge every week now. I was telling, saying that, you know, during the pandemic, when I didn't go, I felt like I was losing my identity because I had worked with children for such a long time. And I applaud the board members for what you do. And I thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you, Jean. All right. And now we're on to communications. We're on number 10. LSCA.
Hello. On Friday, I came and spoke yet again before your closed session on negotiations with our desire to reach a settlement for 2023-2024. We are hopeful we come to an agreement on or by Monday. There are many things beyond compensation that we need to get lined up and ready for next year. We are eager to get our sunshine for 2024-2025, where we have contract work to do around hours, class size, and safety. LSEA already has had a busy 2.5 weeks since we've been back from winter break, and we don't anticipate it slowing down. LSEA appreciates the working relationship we have with human resources and all of the school site principals. This is not an easy time of year as principals work on staffing and assignments for the 2024-2025 school year. There have been some hard conversations and we anticipate more ahead. Thank you to our principals for working with your site union leaders during this time. As all our site principals are aware, having good working relationships and fluid, regular conversations with union leaders benefits all. One challenge we have been facing is ensuring all students receive equitable access to curriculum, specifically music. We have seen our music program expand to a full TK-8 music program. Funding for this has come from the General Fund, the Pacifica Education Foundation, and Prop 28. The proposition was passed just last year. This funding was for the expansion of music to all of our TK2 students. LSCA was eager to get this organized and going. Union leadership met with the district multiple times last spring to review the schedules and shine light on the issues and conflicts. One issue we shared was music for the combo classes and equity across the district. We felt the district's proposed schedules for the new teachers were not ideal, and we had better solutions that would improve the working conditions of those teachers and ensure equity for students. Multiple times we brought this up, and multiple times we were told it wouldn't be a problem. While the inequities are now more visible to more people, we expect our current teachers to not have more burden placed on them. They do not need to be stretched even thinner. LSEA has met and discussed plans with our current music teachers and brainstormed ideas for a more sustainable program for the upcoming school year. Again, we will approach the district on how to make things equitable and manageable for not only our teachers, but equitable for all students. Between the last board meeting and this board meeting, LSEA had a running list of topics to bring up this evening. The list was long and we've only ticked off a few items. Yet again, we ask the members of the school board to reach out to LSEA leaders, and perhaps we can get through that list. One way to support our students and staff is to come to school sites, see what is happening, and engage in conversations. We are all working towards the same goal. Thank you to the one board member who does continue to reach out. Please keep doing it, and please let your colleagues know that it's not that bad. We are grasping at straws, trying to get more engagement from the board. At the last board meeting, Trustee Burkini said we'd attract more flies with honey. Do I need to bring literal honey? Choosing to call us formidable opponents was disheartening and frustrating. I can go back to all my speeches and see I come up here every 3 weeks representing over 120 certificated staff members asking me to work with us. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'd love nothing more than to not have to work on these speeches every 3 weeks and just have conversations with you. Reach out, you know where to find us. Thank you.
CSEA.
Hello, my name is Nicole Sayers and I'm the president of CSEA Chapter 128 Pacifica. Tonight, I'd like to welcome Janine Rivera, Child Nutrition Cook at Ocean Shore School. Santos Vicente Ramirez, a custodian 2 at Ortega. And I would like to thank Gia Ramsey for adding crossing guard position to her already very busy day up at Sunset Ridge. Tonight, our CSEA Above and Beyond awards go to Lucy Sweet, a paraprofessional RSP at Ocean Shore School, and Jenny Gagwa, paraprofessional Playworks at Ortega School. Lucy has been a long time dedicated classified employee at Ocean Shore School since 2007. Since she's an integral part of the Ocean Shore School community, she currently works as a paraprofessional in RSP. She has been working alone in RSP at Ocean Shore for most of the school year, making sure that the students receive the academic support that they need. Jenny works very hard as a paraprofessional assigned to the Playworks program at Ortega School. Jenny's hard work does not stop there. She's a dedicated member of the Ortega team and goes above and beyond for her school community daily. CSEA Chapter 128 is proud of all of our above and beyond recipients. Our classified employees are dedicated, hardworking people who care about students, our schools, and our community. If the district won't celebrate our wonderful classified employees, CSEA will continue to thrive. On December 21st, 2023, before our holiday break, our community suffered a tragedy in which 2 people died and 1 person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. It affected affected a family in our school community. The incident occurred near Valmar School. That morning was difficult. Some information was offered, but it was hard to decipher. We did not know what was true, and we did not know what was false, and it was awful. As the president of CSEA, I would like to extend my sincerest thank you to the Pacifica Police Department, to the principals, to the teachers, and to the classified staff for keeping our students safe, for helping the students deal with a lockdown or a shelter in place or whatever each school decided to do that day. CSEA appreciates you. Now, I hope the Board of Trustees found it in their abilities to stop by or call the schools the next day to thank them personally for their leadership and professionalism in keeping everyone calm and safe. And if you did, I thank you as well. And if you didn't, I think that you should think about that. As elected trustees of the Pacifica School District, you are elected officials. The voters within our community expect you to show up to school events. We expect that you will happily accept the responsibilities of sitting on committees and attending meetings, that you guide our new superintendent as she gains a better understanding of her new responsibilities, the district and the community. We also expect you to show up to board meetings on time and listen to public comments and to take them into consideration. Now, within the last couple of weeks, I have sent many letters to the board, and I want to thank Trustee Villalobos, Trustee Burkini, Trustee Patel, for answering me. And also I want to thank Trustee Bradall for meeting me in person. Someone recently told me, when we're cutting positions, not people. Well, that's easy to say if you don't travel through the district. When you really don't know the staff or the teachers of the schools. It should be an integral part of administrative positions to go out and actually meet the people that administrative decisions affect. It is important to understand that when you cut, you are actually cutting people in these positions, not just positions. Many of these people have given many years to this district and accepted the lowest pay in the county because they have a special affiliation or affection for this district. My hope is that the district will realize that every position is held by a hardworking person who cares about students. My hope is that during negotiations, we fill the day with ideas that will help our employees keep their hours and their positions. We want to help you figure out together all the hard issues. We must use February 12th, our next negotiation date, as a day for solution-based ideas. I promise to come to that day with a positive attitude, and I hope the district will do the same. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Why don't we start with Nicole Ortega for communications for people wishing to address the board.
Thank you, Trustee Villalobos. Hello, my name is Nicole Ortega. I'm a longtime classified employee of the district and I'm CSEA's second vice president. Thank you, trustees, Superintendent Williams, and Cabinet for allowing me to speak tonight. At the December 22nd, 2023 board meeting, former board president Linda Brokini said, "Megan Ellsburn, you have been a formidable opponent all year." She also said, "Just remember, you can catch more flies with honey." And while we are entitled to our positions, I can let you know that to me, this was very disheartening to hear. Those words coming from a sitting trustee, it's difficult to hear that. We are your labor partners. We're not opposition. Both CSEA and LSEA try very hard to work with the district to serve our students and our families. Please do not see us as an opponent or the opposition. Please see us as educators, colleagues, district employees that want to work with you to make our district the best it can be. Trustee Brokini also stated that CSEA feels unheard at times. This could not be more true. Our classified employees are still the lowest paid school employees in San Mateo County. Not part of it, all of it. And based on the district's current financial situation and negotiation delays, it feels like this will continue to be the state of affairs in our district for our classified employees. We are being told that cuts are coming, but the district cannot continue to fix its financial issues and balance its budget on the backs of classified employees. First of all, we don't make enough to offset the district's budget and deficits. Perhaps instead, the district should be more concerned with the high and rising costs of its contracted employees. Because we cannot attract and retain permanent employees due to low wages. The district's response is consistently, we have no money. The district needs to explore alternate funding sources. You need to stop with the bonds and the parcel taxes. How are our classified employees, our senior citizens, our citizens on fixed incomes and low-income families supposed to continue to take on the burden of the district's financial need? There are no exemptions for bonds for seniors or low-income families, and most cannot afford the current bonds and parcel taxes that they are already obligated to pay, not just for our district, but for Jefferson Union High School District and the Community College District. We need to start looking at other ways to bring money into this district. We need to have an environment where our classified employees do not have to go to the resource center or Second Harvest Food Bank to put food on the table for their families. We ask you to work with us to find solutions that allow the district to be able to meet its financial obligations and still provide a living wage to its classified employees. And additionally, at a previous board meeting, I heard a trustee say that trustees should go to other school societies, the one that they're assigned to. And I thought that was beautiful. And I echo that sentiment. And I heard another trustee say, but I have a full-time job. You're an elected official. This too is your job. Make the time. We do. Thank you.
And the next person is Mandy Lip.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mandy Liff. I am the Executive Director for the Boys and Girls Clubs of North San Mateo County. I just wanted to come and meet everybody and say hello. I want to thank you all so much for having this forum where we can all voice our opinions and share our thoughts with you. I want to thank the trustees. I want to thank the superintendent, community members, the cabinet, everybody here. We have been a Boys and Girls Club since 1953. We've been a community staple in Pacifica since 1965. Our voice in the community is valued, it's respected, it's loved. We share so much passion with our community members. I'm here today just to say thank you. I'm here to spread a little good word. Sorry for breaking up the moment here. But really, I just want to say thank you all so much. The passion that everyone here brings to the table, the community members and the trustees here, the superintendent, we all have a passion and a driving force to really support the youth in Pacifica. That's why we're all here. Our mission at the Boys and Girls Club is to inspire and enable all young people to realize their full potential and contribute to their communities. That's why we're here. We do this through a couple different ways, just giving you a little lowdown on our program here. We have 3 pillars. We believe in academic success, we believe in having healthy lifestyles, and we believe in good citizen and character and having that positivity to bring out in the world. We have a robust program. At this point, we are now serving students at 5 different schools in the school district. We serve students at Ortega, Cabrillo, Valimar, Sunset Ridge, and IBL. We have on-site locations at Sunset Ridge, IBL, and Ortega. We are deeply invested in this community and in this school district itself. I want to say that the partnership that we have had with the school district has been very wonderful. We have loved working with specifically Tom Stafford. I just want to give him a little shout out right now. He has been fantastic to work with. We are deeply motivated to keep supporting these students. Annually, we have about 1,300 students who come through our program. These are Pacifica natives, mostly. We're about 90% Pacifica natives at this point. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the time.
Okay, our next speaker is Angie Caden.
Don't need to go there too? No, it's my first time, I don't know. Okay, let's see. I was not ready, sorry. Okay, hi, I'm just here with solidarity with the teachers. I didn't know you were right now talking about the contract, things like that. I'm a teacher, so I support you, and I feel like you guys are doing a great job for my kids, for all the students. And something related to what was said previously, it's about the split class and the inequality in those classrooms. This is my second time that I have a child in Cabrillo in a split class. First was with Ms. Wiseman, and now it's with Ms. Hornstra. And I just realized that my son is not going to be participating in the spring concert. I was not aware, I was not communicated, I just found out recently, and I do not understand why my 3rd graders not participating in that. Why is he not having the same equal academic opportunities as the rest of his classmates? And not having the same experience as the rest of the 3rd graders at all Pacifica, and it's not only Cabrillo, because everybody's going to participate in the spring concert. And it was so sad to see, I think on Monday, like the pep sent the flyer, save the days for the spring concert. And I was like, oh, not for my child. So I don't know how many students are covered at Pacifica School District. I was like, at least 200 students are going to participate in this, but not my child. Or like 23 child are not going to participate in this. So that for me is very disappointed. So I just want, moving forward, for all of you to think about how can we help the splits classrooms and the students there to have an equal experience, equal academic opportunities moving forward. Especially because I have a kindergarten starting next year. So just thinking about, oh my God, hopefully she'll get the split class. It's already stressing me out. So I don't want that. I want to be like, yes, it's a split class. And then like course people, yes, it's super good. They have great teachers. The principal was great. The superintendent's great. Everybody's so great. Don't be afraid. And so far, I cannot say that. So I want to say that. And again, the great teachers, I just feel like the teachers do not have the support they needed, neither the students. Thank you.
Catherine Hornstra.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Hornstra. I teach the 2-3 split at Cabrillo. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of my third grade students. I found out early in the year that my third grade students would not get the opportunity to attend the 3rd to 5th grade music class. I brought this up to my administration and I was told that it was a district decision. I did not understand why this decision was made. Why were my students getting excluded? I came up with a solution to have my 12 third graders split up as 6 and 6 and go with the other third grade teachers as they do for drama class and other electives. This decision was not approved and the compromise was to have my students go with the newly hired K-2 teacher. I didn't feel this was equitable either, but I accepted it. That teacher has since left and my third graders have been left without music for the past 2 months, while the other third grade students have received music lessons the whole year. My students deserve what the other students are getting. I'm a proud split teacher. I see the many benefits of a split class, and this is not a good look for the splits in the district. I want families to be excited about the split because on behalf of split teachers, we work hard to teach the students the curriculum and to ensure that they are not excluded from any grade level traditions. Many parents are unsure of what to expect when they find out at the beginning of the year that their child is in a split class. But after hearing the back to school night presentation explaining the many benefits, including that the students will be doing everything their grade level counterparts are doing, parents realize that a split class is a great opportunity. Without music this year for my third graders, how can teachers of split classes assure their parents in the future? My students have noticed that they are not getting what the others are getting, and I've had to tell them that this is the case, but it's not fair. It is not equitable, but it's easily fixable. The fact that my third graders won't be involved in the upcoming concert truly breaks my heart. I hope the district will come to a solution for the third graders in the split classes because they deserve to be included in the music that the other third graders are receiving. Thank you.
And the last speaker is Taryn McCabe.
Hello, I'm Taryn McCabe. I'm a parent of 2 children at Cabrillo. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for the speakers. I am here in solidarity with the teachers and also hearing that comment about the opponents and stuff. I'm here in solidarity with you too. We are all here for the same reason. We want what is best for the teachers, for the students, for education to really thrive. And I definitely feel disappointment too that my child is in a split class and being excluded from some of these wonderful things that his peers are getting. So what I want to say is that I'm really hopeful that we get a response soon because I was told a few weeks ago that there were meetings to try and get this going. So within a week, 2, 3, I'm looking forward to your response. Because I really want to know what the game plan is for this year, and then hopefully knowing that this isn't gonna happen next year. And that said, with this year, I did see that there was a sub posting for music teachers, and I really hope there's a plan beyond that. And I know that money is always an issue, but it is disappointing that last year before Prop 28, it seemed like at Cabrillo at least, I'm active on the PTO, as is Angie, that we worked so hard to fundraise and we had a music program that was impressive. So it's tough that now this is the first year that we didn't have to fundraise and it's like, wah, wah, we are not getting the same music that we did. So thank you for letting me talk. I really hope that you see us, teachers, also sub parents, we are advocates, we are allies, we are here with you doing the work, and we all have the same hopes and dreams. And I know that we can be a pain. And just because we're not telling you what you want to hear or creating new, what might be seen as problems that are really shadow solutions, I hope you start to see us that way. Thank you.
Lauren, I just wanted to let you know the board's not allowed to comment on you, but maybe somebody from our administration can reach out to you. That's accepted.
Love it.
Okay. All right. So moving on, we're on correspondence. Does anybody have any correspondence? Superintendent? Well, I do. I guess the new role as president, I have quite a bit. So I did receive an email letter on December 21st from the Valimar staff regarding the district lockdown and communication during that time. I received one parent email from about the Valimar incident and safety. And I also received an email from a reporter whose name was Adrian Fernandez from the Pacifica Tribune. And he gave me, he requested that he get information on how the board communicates with the unions, our labor partners. And then we received many letters from our regular elected officials inviting us to events. And I think that's all I have for communications. Sorry, not used to being president. Number 11, information items. The California.
You didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over that.
Communications.
Oh, communications, board and superintendent. Does anybody want to go first?
I'll go ahead and go first. Back before the holidays, on the Wednesday, the 20th, I believe it was, went to Valimar for their winter arts and crafts day. And then unfortunately, I then hear the very next day that there was that horrible event that happened. I did that afternoon. Actually, it was on Friday. I went to Valimar and I talked with some teachers in the upper grades. I was up there for like 2 hours talking to people. I could feel them while I was talking, how hurt and affected they were by that event. And I was glad to hear that there was over the break, some steps were put in place. So one thing they were worried about were some of the lines, and that actually got fixed over the break, which was thank you to the district for getting that done. I just my heart goes out to Valimar and all the teachers and how much they felt. And I know that was a really hard time for everybody. And there was a lot of people that really stepped up, and I really appreciate that. I've also been continuing to attend negotiation meetings. And I just want to do one comment about negotiations in the board. It's just a reminder, when the unions are in negotiations with the board, The board and the unions are not allowed to talk because there's.
Negotiate year round.
Please don't interrupt.
So unfortunately, yeah, we're maybe. So anyway, that is the rule. We're negotiating, we're not supposed to talk to the unions, so I'll just put that out there and I'll just stop at that. That's it.
Does anybody else want to go next?
No.
Elizabeth?
Okay, I went to Valamar after the lockdown the day after, and then also attended a staff meeting at Valamar, where they went over, lessons learned and what could be improved. Went to a music directors meeting that we have monthly with all of the music directors in the district. Several, bond measure G meetings. I had a CSEA, I went, met with Nicole Sayers, CSEA, regarding her email. And then in December, right before break, I did attend the LSEA meeting.
The only communication I want to highlight is I went to a CSBA webinar on small school districts and funding, and mostly because we are in a very difficult financial position, and going forward, you'll see that as the district presents its financial position. And, you know, I take the role as a board member of taking it, like as a parent, typically, I never would look at school budgets or school district budgets. That's not, I never had time to do that. But now as a board member, I take a lot of time to really deeply understand what that budget means and the impact that it has on my child's education. And we're in a very difficult situation in this district. And I just wanted to highlight that. There are other smaller school districts in a similar position, but no other district, and I made this clear on the webinar, is in the same position as Pacifica. We have a very unique set of circumstances that places a lot of extra pressure on our effectively ability to spend our revenues. That is very unique to Pacifica. And in talking to all these other smaller school districts, they were also surprised at the numbers that I brought forth on this webinar. And I want to highlight that because I think parents don't always realize, because I never did previous to joining the board, the details of the budget, the difficulty that we have in doing things that other districts, our neighboring districts, can do and do. And so I just wanted to mention that for the public, for parents, to please take the time to look at the budget, understand that our particular constraints, because of the lack of funding we get from concentration funds and supplemental funds from the state level, means that we have a much tighter per student funding than definitely all of our neighbors, but even at a state level, we're at a very precarious position.
Thank you. Okay, oh, you
To the board and to community. I had the opportunity to visit Valamar on December 21st and 22nd after the incident, to give support, and then also to listen to some concerns and to discuss things that could have been done differently, but also to highlight and acknowledge the individuals who were actually in the situation, and to just extend my sincere support to everyone. In addition, upon return from winter break, I also returned back to Valamar and met with the ILT, had conversations in terms of outlining an agenda for a staff meeting, and also recognizing and addressing some of the concerns that were presented. Following that meeting, I had the opportunity to have a debrief. We met with the chief of police for Pacifica, Pacifica, and Chief Sarasua. And we had a debrief and also a safety meeting in terms of better understanding our processes with the big five, also understanding why certain decisions are made in terms of crisis, the difference between when a lockdown is called by a school versus when it's called by law enforcement and being under their jurisdiction. It was a very informative conversation, and we also spoke about ways to increase our partnership. Also had the opportunity to visit and to participate in our LCAP engagement evenings, which were very important, and days, virtually and in person as well. The next year, we hope to have more in participation. And I also want to say, most importantly, had the opportunity to meet with our union partners. And I do want to say that I do value my time with our union partners because it is a time that we are having candid conversations. And while we don't always agree, I can say to Nicole Sayers, our weekly touch-ins and meetings, it has improved our communication and our relationship, and I hope to continue and that we get better. And then also with Megan Ellsberg, and then also with Rachel Merlot, it has been also a welcome conversation that we have an opportunity to engage, and I hope to expand that. And finally, just to say, I want everyone to know that I also had an opportunity to visit Ocean Shore. I won't go into too much detail, but to provide support to the Ocean Shore community, to the staff, also to the principal and our families, and just say that this is a time where it's most critical that we have the opportunity to come together. And I always want us to remember our priority is our kids, all of our safety, our mental health. And when we think of mental health, it's mutual. We want our entire community to be safe. And so interacting, visiting campuses, having open dialogue, having critical dialogue, and sometimes candid conversations may not feel as well. But let's all remember that we want to respect one another and leave those conversations feeling whole and not feeling empty. And so I welcome conversation and will continue to engage with our community as I learn as your superintendent and as we get through our current climate. So thank you. That's the end of my share out.
I think I'm the last one. It's been a very busy month. It started December 21st. I went to go visit Ballymar, and that was my first day back from not having COVID or testing positive. And when I got there, I had heard that Elizabeth and Linda and the superintendent as well were there. January 9th, meeting at Ballymar with site leadership and the superintendent. January 10th was the meeting with the staff from Ballymar and their leadership. January 10th, I met with LSEA president. We talked a little bit about how I can't talk about negotiations. I just want to make it clear that that is something that isn't, I mean, we approve it and we oversee it, but it's not in our scope to roll up our sleeves and dig in there. We all have full-time jobs. I have 3 jobs. I have this one and 2 part-time jobs. Some have children, babies. So we hire very qualified people to do the negotiations for us. Josie, who knows the money the best. Carla, who knows about human resources and what cuts we might have to make. And our educational teams. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that it's not that we don't want to, it's just that it's not the best practice for us. And when we signed on to be board members, we were under the impression that we were going to have the big picture, not rolling up our sleeves and talking to union members about all the different things that you might talk about. So when we look at the big picture, we're looking, and depending on all of our qualified people to do the job. We set the direction, we send it to the superintendent, she sends it to everybody else out there. The budget, these are things that are very complicated, and we will have cuts probably coming up. So we just want to be aware of that. So that was my meeting with LSEA. So I don't talk about negotiations with leadership. Everybody is more than welcome to email me. You can even call me. My phone number is somewhere on the website. You have weekly meetings with the superintendent. I meet with her every week. So I will get the information that is being said. But we're just going to entrust the people that we hire to do the jobs that they're supposed to do. And then on January 10th, I met with the superintendent. And January 16th, I met with the Ocean Shore staff after another tragedy. And January 18th, I met with the superintendent. And I've been having weekly meetings with the superintendent as president. That's part of our job now when we do that. So that was that. And then I just wanted to, with the news article that came out, I want to make a comment about that. First of all, I received an email from Adrian, who was the reporter, and he specifically asked me what the communications are with the unions. So I did a nice little write-up, of how we communicate with you and about our transparency that we have to live by. So negotiating with one board member on different days is not being very transparent in my point of view. So I did want to make a comment about that because I'm very disappointed, Recently, an article was published in the Pacifica Tribune that painted a picture of zero communication between the board and our unions, labor partners. Let me say tonight, for the record, I am disappointed in the labor partners going to the paper seeking to politicize our dynamic. From my first day in office, I have worked tirelessly to establish strong lines of communication with you. If you are feeling a certain way, as always, you could have come to me. That would have been the respectful thing to do. We're a very close-knit community, and so we all know somebody who knows somebody. And all of us up here serve, we are elected members. It's questionable if we're volunteers or if we actually have a job, because we get paid $260 a month for the countless hours that we put in. And I applaud all of these different people because we have represented right here, we have inclusion, equity, and every single person has their own specialty in that to make our district a better place. So I thank you for recognizing my part, but we couldn't do it without all of us put together. And so I just wanted to say that. And I'm not saying that you don't have a right to free speech, because you do. And I'm saying that if you want to build bridges, you could have actually talked to me instead, but you didn't. And I'm willing to put this issue behind me because I want the best for our community, but it takes all of us coming together respectfully. That's what I wanted to say. So moving on, number 11, information items. California dashboard overview, and the speakers will lose it.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me put up, we've had some technical difficulties, so I'm going to put this slide deck on the presentation up. It's going to be over here. Oh, it's not both. Good evening, trustees. This presentation is an informational item that will cover a broad overview of our 2023 California dashboard with a focus on our student groups. I will also share the LCAP development timeline. After my share, you will have an opportunity to ask questions or make comments. First, we start with our district guideposts for this year, ACE. This presentation will touch mainly on guideposts of attendance and academics. Through the dashboard, California recognizes that there are many elements that are critical for student success. The California dashboards measures some of them. The 4 state measures are academic, English learner progress, chronic absenteeism, and suspension rate. Within the 2023 dashboard, districts and schools receive performance level based on status or level of performance in the 22-23 school year, 22-23 year, and progress or progress made as compared to 21-22 year. For instance, a school or student group may have performed very low in the 22-23, but made significant progress as compared to 21-22. So they received an orange performance level, not a red. So if my cursor can see it, that's where they would land. Even though they scored very low, they could still receive an orange, not the lowest level. When we look at academic measures, specifically English language arts, we show an overall performance of orange, maintaining a 1.9 points above standard. Our student groups of homeless students and students of disabilities had a performance level of red, while our English learners and Hispanic students scored in the orange. In math, the school district as a whole received a green performance level. The same 2 student groups of homeless and students with disability received red performance levels, while just the English learners received orange. Based on our English language testing, our English learners progress received a green performance level due to their 4.3 progress in 2023 to a 50.3 of English learners making progress. This percentage of English learners is even significantly higher than pre-pandemic percentage of just 35.3% of English learners making progress. This is a comparison of, Chronic absenteeism has been a statewide issue. Pacifica did see improvement or a decline in chronically absent students in 22-23, and there were no student groups in the red performance level. This is a comparison of 21-22 to 22-23 student groups. Aside from the 2 or more races, all other student groups declined in their percentage of chronically absent students, which is what we want, students. This is the same comparison by school. Ortega stands as the one school that fell into the red performance level. And Sunset Ridge shows a decline, but has a significantly higher percentage as compared to the other schools. We anticipate these percentages decreasing significantly due to our focused efforts on each of our sites on attendance. Our last state measure, suspension rate, Pacifica received a green performance level with no student groups in red or orange. The review of the California dashboard is on its release. Okay, sorry. Next slide. The review of the California dashboard happened on its release in December as part of the LCAP timeline. We have just conducted our first round of educational partner engagement meetings and sent out an engagement survey to all school communities, sharing the input we received and asking for further input on priorities for the 27 LCAP. At the February 14th board meeting, I will share a mid-year update of our existing LCAP. We will then conduct a second round of educational partner engagement mid-February and work on finalizing a draft to be submitted for review to the San Mateo County Office of Education by the end of April. I know I went through stuff very quickly there. I scripted it all out, so I made sure I got it all in, but you probably have questions maybe about any of it. And if you want me to go back some slides, I can do that too.
I'm just curious if you have any indication why one school will do really well versus another school that perhaps historically has always done well, because I did see, you know, the individual schools in there, and Bellimar did very well. I think Ortega, with the exception of the absenteeism, but there were some schools where they didn't do well in any of those areas. And I was just wondering if you've been able to identify some of that.
Yes, so if you look over time, so if you can go back 10 years and just even really just pull out, like for academics, the SBAC scores, there's a pretty much of a flat line, like our percentages of students that are performing at or above grade level is pretty much the same all the way across the board. I mean, it's really telling that we maybe need to look at what we're doing, because we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results. So there's that, and it's consistent across our entire district. And then if you go to schools, it's pretty consistent across schools. Now, I will say, with the chronic absenteeism rate, you know, that was a lot of that had to do coming out of the pandemic. We are making progress towards a lower chronic absenteeism rate and a higher attendance rate. So I'm very confident and optimistic that we are going to lower that significantly next year. When I'm up here reporting next year, there'll be a significant drop in that. So that's kind of an anomaly. But for the rest of the indicators, it's pretty much been the same. So it's one of those things that even during uncertain times, pandemics, floods at schools, like all these things that have happened, we still seem to be just performing the same across the board on all indicators, with the exception of the chronic absenteeism. Suspensions too is not been a big issue the last couple of years. I mean, not had any student groups in red or orange. Our percentages are usually 1 or lower % of suspended students. So, I mean, it's something we always obviously keep an eye on, but it's not as big of an issue as it was 4 years ago.
Thank you, because that is one of the issues when I first became a board member, where there was a lot of discrepancy between who was being suspended. And also 1 year it was even guaranteed with the numbers that we had that if you were American Indian, you were going to be suspended. And so I'm really pleased that we're making progress in that area, because if the kids are in school, they're learning. If the kids are in school, we're also receiving more funding. If every child came in 2 or 3 times more this year, how much more funding would that be for their education? So I just wanted to thank you for that suspension and everybody who's been working on it. Principals, teachers. Does anybody else have questions? Comments? No? Okay. All right, and so now we're on to 11B, first reading instruction, board policy updates. Speaker Will Lucy.
Yes, so this is an informational item, and it actually is about 2 board policies. These are the September CSBA policies, and the 2 policies, board policies, one of them is homework and makeup work, and the other one is board policy 6162, which is around student assessment. The homework and makeup work policy it's a policy to add meaningful homework that can provide enrichment, addresses student use of technology, including artificial intelligence. So really the main gist of this policy was that there is proper, responsible use of artificial intelligence in doing homework. And then the other policy, there was also a little bit of wording changed where it talked about designing homework assignments that inspire students' interest and include students that may work with other students and use approved outside resources as directed by the teacher. So that wording was added. The other policy, 6162, the student assessment, was an update to reflect that the prohibited and permitted student use of technology to include artificial intelligence in relations to assessments. Be as specified by board policy 5131.9, the academic honesty and board policy student use of technology. It referenced the law AB 114 2023. The gist of this rewording is it needed to be reworded or needed to reflect this, but this really pertains to high schools and how high schools do their assessments about their use of AI for their assessment pieces. It really kind of related mostly to that. And then there was a second part about post-secondary of sharing CAS scores with post-secondary to get credits. Again, usually we take out all the things that pertain to high school in there, but this need to be left in because you could have CAS scores that are from 8th grade that could be used for course credits. You know, we don't know, we can't predict in the future that those are going to be allowable to be used as course credits. So,
Does anybody have any questions? So this was just an information item. And now we're reading, we're on 11C. First reading, student board policies. John Bartfield.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Williams. This is the first reading of an updated board policy 5131.9 academic honesty, and this comes from the CSBA updates from September. So this is just one policy for in the student section. It is, and I have the feeling we're going to see more and more about AI because this definitely features AI and artificial intelligence in regards to academic honesty. This policy has been updated to address prohibited and permitted student use of technology, including artificial intelligence, as it relates to academic honesty. The policy has also been updated to include that a student with a disability be permitted to use technology for any purpose for which technology is identified in the student's IEP, Individualized Education Program. Also, that the student be given the opportunity to demonstrate that the use of technology was in accordance with policy when suspected by an employee that such use was in violation of academic honesty, and that any information acquired from an employee's use of technology in determining whether the student has committed an act of academic dishonesty be shared with the student and the student's parent and guardian as appropriate. Additionally, the policy was updated to authorize the provision of staff training regarding the use of technology to improve education, including the detection of plagiarism and sensitivity to potential discrimination from bias. That's a very technical explanation.
Sorry, go ahead.
To answer any questions if you may have them.
Do we have any idea what kind of artificial intelligence they are foreseeing?
Well, I'm not knowledgeable about it, but I do know that AI can produce work.
Mm-hmm.
And Will knows quite a bit about it, I think.
Yeah, for the policy that I was talking about, they did mention about like Chat GPT or an equivalent of that people could do their work through Chat GPT. And
Use an essay.
And if teachers were more aware or were aware of how AI could be utilized for a positive learning experience, it's a
Okay.
But in here, it also has that the student can demonstrate that they were not dishonest by using that very technology. So kind of gives that other side as well.
Just a quick comment. The Department of Education released their 2024, I guess they call it a National Education Technology Plan or something like that. And it's worth reading because, you know, the conversation prior was all about digital access, and now everybody has devices and connectivity and checkbox, right? We did that one. But then the second era of their technology plan focuses on digital use, the digital use divide. And I think, you know, when we talk about artificial intelligence and we get worried that kids can just ask it, you know, write 5 paragraphs about what this book is about, and it does a pretty good job of writing 5 paragraphs of what this book is about. But I think that the National Education Plan really challenges us as an educational institution to think about what was that assignment trying to do anyways? And is there kind of a more thought-provoking exercise that we should be engaging students in versus things like summarizing, things that AI is very good at, right? So like I would cheat if my requirement was summarize the book, and I have this tool that does a great job. It's very difficult not to. And so I think this is a great opportunity from a professional development standpoint, from just our overall curriculum standpoint, to start taking a look at how are we asking students to show mastery of different concepts, and can we push that even further? To your point, Will, if our scores are stagnating, that requires doing something different. And so I would love to hear how we might be rethinking supporting our teachers, looking at our curriculum, so that it's not questions like summarize this book in 5 paragraphs, but it's like create something, or, you know, a lot of amazing classrooms do this already. So I don't want to make it sound like we're not doing this. But the fear of AI is only there if that's all we're going to do, you know, kind of the basic level.
We need to have these conversations now because it's here.
CSBA at the convention in San Francisco. Saul Kong was one of the speakers, and he actually has a new company and is working on putting guardrails on Chat GPT and all that, and has been working with it for a couple of years to, you know, how are they using it to cheat? Okay, what were the old methods, and how can they put guardrails on it? And one of the exciting things I think he mentioned about using it was a way of developing it so that they can have teachers, helping teachers do a lesson plan. For the teacher could say, you know, I need a 5th grade level lesson plan for this and this, and I want this stuff included, and it will help them design that. So he's working on it. So I think there will be good things. There will be good things coming.
Any other comments? So now we're moving on to number 12, action items.
No, there's
No, from Mark D.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Darnice. We are doing D, first reading policy update 0s, 1000s, and 9000s.
Once again, good evening, President Villalobos and trustees for the Pacifica School District. I am Dr. Darnice Williams, coming to you with 2 policy updates. Basically, it's a summary of updates to philosophy, goals, objectives, and policies around Policy 1160, political processes policy. The policy has been updated to include the new law, Assembly Bill 1416 of 2022, which requires the ballot, label, or similar description of school district or other local government measure on a county ballot to list either as a supporter or an opponent of the measure. Also, you have an opportunity to read the red lines and review. And so if you have any questions, I will do my best to respond to them. In addition, I have bylaw 9124, attorney. This bylaw is updated, and it is updated to include the point that governing boards have the opportunity to set a fixed cost for legal services. Also, the bylaw is updated to clarify that districts may, but not be required to initiate a RPA, a request for proposals to advertise and solicit proposals for legal services, and that districts may consider the attorney's firm and or entity's relevant legal reputation when evaluating such attorneys, firms, and or entities. And finally, the bylaw is updated to reflect that any attorney representing the district is required to be admitted to practice in California, practice law in California. So, might there be any questions at this time?
I have a question. Can you somehow tell me what that looks like by an example?
Yes, I will bring that back to you once I consult counsel, and so that I'm giving you sound opinion on that.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
No. All right, thank you so much. And we'll get that response to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are on number 12, action items, acceptance of 2022-23 audit report.
No, sorry,
And the speaker,
no,
We have one.
we got one for that.
Huh?
School accountability.
Full accountability.
Sorry.
which one do you have?
Acceptance of audit report is A on
On the website,
They're not
so we
the
may,
same.
we may want to flip it because it's on the website, what's published.
Okay, so let me.
So we should do the start first, the accounts.
So these were.
So I don't know.
It's just,
So we'll just flip it
Yeah.
for Stark School Accountability Report Cards, action item, speaker Will Lucy.
Yes, this should be short, so we'll get to the school accountability report card is a state mandated document that must be completed every year. It is specifically designed so that the public can view school site information. It is useful to both the incoming parents as well as realtors who present this information to prospective buyers interested in our school community. It is recommended that the board approve the school accountability report cards for the Pacifica School District, Cabrillo, Lieber B. Lacy, Independent Home Study, Linda Mar Educational Center, Ocean Shore, Ortega, Sunset Ridge, and Ballamont.
All right, are there any questions regarding this item? Nope. Do I have a motion to approve the 2022-23 SARC School Accountability Report Cards?
I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. So now we have the declaration of surplus equipment. Josie?
Now,
No.
audit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, trustees. Tonight we have the partner from Siobhan and Associates. His name is Paul Pham, and he is one of our panelists. He's going to go ahead and present the audit report for the Board of Trustees.
Right.
Go ahead, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Josie. I appreciate that introduction, and thank you, Board of Trustees, for inviting me out to share with you the results of the June 30th, 2023 audit. What I'd like to do is just kind of start out going over briefly the audit standards, and then I'll note some key financial highlights for the year, and then I'll get right into the audit results. So if will you be sharing the PowerPoint on your end of the report? I can reference you to certain pages.
Yeah, it's just the audit report. Lucy will bring it up on the
Yeah.
screen.
Give me a second. Lost.
All right. Well, that's coming up. I'll get into the audit standards. So the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, they issue statements of auditing standards that we adhere to in our audit. And because the district is a local government, the Government Accountability Office, they also issue government auditing standards that we follow in our audit. The district did expend in excess of $750,000 in federal awards. So it was subject to a single audit, which is the uniform guidance is a compliance supplement that comes out that dictates the audits of your federal programs. So this last year, for fiscal year 23, we selected the special education program as well as your ESSER programs as the major program for our audit. And the Education Audit Appeals Panel, every year, they also issue an audit guide, which we use to audit the district's state programs. And lastly, because the district has the Proposition 39 bond measure, the Education Audit Appeals Panel also puts out a supplement that gives guidance on auditing those construction bond programs as well. So as far as the financial highlights, if I could go to page 8, table 1. So when we get to that, what you'll see here is going to be a summary of the district's net position. Okay, so page 8, table 1. And there it is. Okay, and so what you see here is that the district's net position, the very bottom line there, you see that it increased by just under $7.4 million. So the district went from a pretty large deficit net position to a positive net position. So that's good. That's good. So there's a few things that impacted that. The first thing I'd like to discuss is your long-term liabilities. So a few years back, if you remember, the stock market had really good returns. So when it comes to the district's pension plans, like the PERS and STIRS, any contributions that are made into the plan, like from member contributions, the employer contributions, the state making on behalf payments, things of that sort, those contributions get invested. And so if you look back 2 years ago, those investment returns reduced the net pension liability by a pretty substantial amount. And so what you saw last year was a big drop in your net pension liability for your PERS and STIRS plans. And so the way that works is when these actuaries do these reports, they make assumptions. And one of the assumptions they make is the return on investment. And when they get that assumption wrong, the difference between the actual and the expected gets amortized over 5 years. And so that gets recorded as a deferred inflows. And so last year, you saw a large decrease in the deferred inflows. But if you remember back from the stock market, all those gains that were had, from then all went away the very next year. And so we were anticipating that the pension liability would go right back up and the deferred inflows would go down. So that's what you're seeing here. And your long-term liabilities going up and your deferred inflows going down. And so that explains that. The reason why it's not as proportionate is because the district did pay down some of its outstanding debt related to the general obligation bonds that the district has. So that's kind of netted out in that long-term liabilities line. One other thing I wanted to note here is that if you look at your assets, the district's assets, the current assets dropped just under $7 million. And the capital assets went up by $9 million. So basically what that is you're taking cash from the building fund and utilizing that cash to fund your construction projects. And so you're basically converting a current asset to a long-term asset. And then overall, though, the cash did go up because just of the excess funding that the district got this year. So if I could reference you down to page 9, table 2, so what you see here is a pretty good increase in revenue, and most of that's going to be in the form of grants. As you know, in recent years, the districts had a lot of one-time funding through, ESSER and whatnot, and so that's going to be reflected there in those grant increases you see. So all those things really resulted in that really good increase in the district's net position and taking the district out of the hole for the time being, at least. So if you could go to page 12, table 4. So this is where it really has a lot more meaning to the district in terms of your day-to-day operations, in terms of your current planning for a particular fiscal year. So what I presented earlier was on your government-wide statements. So this is the funds. And as you can see here, the funds overall decreased by just under $7 million. And that would be expected because if you look at the building fund, that dropped just under $11 million. And that's just from spending down of the bond funds. But if you look at the general fund there, it did really well. It's showing over a $3 million increase there. And so if you could go to page 66, way at the bottom, I'm going to show this a little bit too. And this is what we're going to see here on this page is what's known as your financial trends. And what the schedule does is it summarizes the general fund over the past 3 years. So that's page 66. Okay, so here what you see is the district's got a pretty healthy reserve. You see there it's going from 9%, a little up increase last year, and then the last fiscal year it's all just under 12% reserve. So that's a real decent reserve. But one of the things I did want to highlight here is if you look at the projections, that budget column for 2024. You'll see that it does drop. You see that there's deficit spending in the general fund for projected for 2024. And since then, the district's also updated their budget as well with this last interim period that just passed. But the point being is that a lot of the district's funds are restricted and on top of it, a lot of these one-time revenues are going away, right? So it's something that's the district's not alone. It's across the board, across the state, and we're keeping an eye on it. And you can tell the district's doing the responsible thing and budgeting for it, and they are anticipating it. But at this point, the reserve is still at a healthy 11.92 for the year ended June 30th, 2023. And with that, if there aren't any questions on the numbers, I can go into the audit results.
Are there any questions? No.
Okay, so we did have a very clean audit, so congratulations. What that means is, as far as the financial statements are concerned, we issued an unmodified opinion, and that means that the financial statements were fairly presented in all material respects. When it comes to the district's internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance, our audit did not identify any deficiencies in internal controls over financial reporting that we considered to be a material weakness. Our tests disclosed no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. When it comes to compliance, the district complied in all material respects to the requirements of state programs as well as the federal programs and the bond Proposition 39. And lastly, we had no significant uncorrected adjustments, no difficulties during our audit, and no disagreements with management. So overall, a great job. The Josie and her team are doing a very good job of managing the district's finances and keeping up the tight internal controls. We wanted to thank the district, Josie, and all the departments involved. The audit is pretty involved. We look at a lot of different areas when it comes to your finances and your compliance. So, it's definitely all hands on deck to help us with this audit. And we do understand that it does take your team away from their day-to-day duties. So we appreciate that assistance through the audit. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments? Good job, Tracy.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Paul.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now let's see.
That's a fact in there.
Go back to.
We have to vote on.
Oh, yeah, we have to vote on that. Are there any questions? No. Do I have a motion to approve the 2022-23 audit report?
A motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, Josie, declaration of surplus equipment.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, trustees. Tonight, we're asking the board to approve a declaration of surplus equipment. There's a 1998 Ford van that is no longer working in the maintenance yard. And if the board votes to declare it surplus, we can dispose of it and, hopefully get some money back based on, the value. It's estimated to be less than $2,500 at this time. Any questions?
No questions? Okay, do I have a motion to declare the aforementioned van as surplus and allow its sale without advertising for bids?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, and we are working our way to D, approval of resolution. Did I say revolution? Resolution 2024-01-24, a California Schools Healthy Air Plumbing and Efficiency Program. This is an action item, Chelsea.
Thank you. So CalShape is the California Energy Commission's California Schools Healthy Air Plumbing and Efficiency Program. And that program does allow school districts to apply for funding. They have some funding available for the assessment, maintenance, and repair of ventilation systems, installation of carbon monoxide monitors, and replacement of non-compliant plumbing fixtures and appliances. So Pacifica School District did put in an application this past year. And we did receive an award notice for $465,420. And so we're asking the board to authorize the chief business official to execute in the name of Pacifica School District all the required documents necessary to implement and carry out for the purpose of this resolution and take actions necessary to undertake and complete the energy efficiency projects. So tonight, it's an action item asking the board to approve this resolution. It's so that I would implement the grant agreement and begin the work, accepting the grant funds and utilizing the funds to upgrade our HVAC systems and maintain them going forward.
You have a question, comment?
I have a quick one. So first, great that we got a grant to do this. That's obviously budget's tight, so it's great that we have a grant to support some of this. I also wanted to ask if this helps us with, in the SARC reports, almost every school in electrical was fair or poor. Poor for the most part, fair for some of them. And so I'm wondering if this energy efficiency grant can help with that, since there's upgrades needed there and we have this money here.
You're speaking to the HVAC systems in the SARC reports, or?
Well, some of those and then electrical as well. And I don't know if they overlap in any way, but in case it does.
In case it does, yeah, the ventilation systems. Yeah, it would help in that area for those reports. If over COVID, we did notice we had a lot of repairs needed in our systems. And that's mainly what would help where if there's an overlap with some of those SARC issues, it would definitely help in that area.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the details of the SARC and see where those overlaps might be.
Yeah, it might be good just to see if if we could prioritize the issues that were identified in the SARC report, if there is overlap there.
Yes,
That's great.
a great point. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you for putting the energy to get the grant. Extra money always so.
A team effort, so thank you.
So thank you.
I think over the years between the fires and COVID, we've learned more than we ever thought we'd know about HVAC systems. More than we ever wanted to know.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2024-01-24A?
I'll motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, and we're on E, approval of Form J13A, request for allowance of attendance due to emergency conditions. Josie, action.
Thank you. So as you know, we did have an emergency near the end of December at Bell School. And as the result of the lockdown, we did have a large loss of attendance that day. And so the state does allow us to declare an emergency condition, and we have all the forms completed. And if the board approves the J13A declaring this as an emergency condition, we can then submit it to the county superintendent of schools for review. If the county superintendent of schools approves it, it would then go to the CDE, California Department of Education. And once approved, we would be able to use our normal attendance rate versus we had about 90 students in school that day. And also the following day, because, it was, I think, a Thursday and a Friday, but it was very low attendance. So if you approve this tonight, then we can submit the documents and hopefully maintain our attendance at our normal rates for the school year. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve Form J13A, request for allowance of attendance due to emergency conditions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
13. Board of Trustees Superintendent's recap and future agenda items. Does anybody have any afterthoughts of the meeting?
One quick one. The achievement stagnation, and in particular in math, some of the declines that we've seen in certain schools kind of keeps my mind always going on what we can do differently. And I wonder if it's possible, not necessarily for the next board meeting, but getting a group of teachers or teacher leaders together to kind of come up with a plan a little bit. And, there's the top-down plan that would come from the administration, but then also is there kind of a bottoms-up plan? Like, what are teachers thinking and seeing? Are there programs? Are there, like, what do they think can really support? And it's hard to do this at a broad brush because we have so many grades and so many different student populations we need to support. But I think that would be a good exercise for us to kind of understand from the teacher's perspective what opportunities they see to really advance academic achievement. So that's just a request that I have. Not necessarily for next board meeting, that would be a very intense request, but at some point.
Does anybody else have any afterthoughts or agenda items? I just have an afterthought. I just wanted to thank all the teachers and the labor partners, the administration, everybody working as a team. And I hope that we can continue working as a team through respect and discussion, whether it's an email or a telephone call, person to person, in a public setting, whatever. But I also just want to remember the tragedies that we had this past month and some of the loss that our families experienced, and that we're thinking of them. Do you have any?
I think well said.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So meeting is adjourned at 7:44.